About your job, your previous job, you were director of education in a giant company like Apple. How was it? How was this experience?
How was this experience? How do I share with you an experience of 5.5 years at Apple? So Apple was 2004 to 2009. Initially, I was head of higher education in Europe. My team in Europe built podcasting, so the dissemination and distribution of education content with some of the leading universities in the UK and across Europe. Then in 2007 end of 2007, I was either promoted or excommunicated and sent to China, having caused so much chaos in Europe. They thought they'd send me to China, and I was director of education in China and Asia Pac for 2.5 years, helping build out Apple's engagement across Asia Pac and China, and built projects like Seed, which was a corporate social responsibility project, a collaboration between Apple, Foxconn and Pearson, which still exists as one of Apple's programs in corporate social responsibility, with now 4.6 million students on that program. Mm-hmm. So I had the opportunity to work at Apple at one of the most innovative times with some of the most creative people and drive innovation at the most extraordinary level. So yeah, fun, yes. Sometimes fun.
And can you tell us about, how can I say, about a thing that happened and you still remembered how it was made? I don't know.
What,
something special.
At Apple?
Yes, at Apple.
No, because Apple is a company which is very discreet about how it communicates. So there is a philosophy is that what you do at Apple is part of the greater mission of Apple. So many of those stories, I need alcohol or some separate private conversation to share those stories. No, I'm joking. But the point being, I'd rather talk about what I'm doing now. I mean, I left Apple many years ago, the end of 2009, beginning 2010. I returned to the UK, working with venture capital, hedge funds, angel investors, family offices, looking to build initially education tech, health tech, now conversational AI, and that's a particularly interesting area I'd like to discuss with you, and some blockchain services business. I have a portfolio of 6 or 8 businesses around the world. I help to grow and scale companies,
yes,
and I have more fun than anybody you know.
Yes. It is said in your portfolio that you are working with business in London, in Delhi, and also right now here in Universum.
Yes. Well, first of all, I have many friends here, and this is an extraordinary environment. There is an appetite in Kosovo to learn and to develop and to be the best version of yourselves. You have students who are smart and intelligent, who have aspirations to build companies, to be entrepreneurs. And I'm privileged and honored to be invited here, maybe to help a little bit in helping on that journey.
Mm-hmm. And how come that you came here in Pristina? Is this the first time that you came here?
No, it's not the first time. I was here 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. There was an extraordinary conference that many of us internationally came from. I came, there were people from Google, people from America. There was a whole group of people who came together 7 years ago who are still friends. I mean, maybe there's the magic of uni associated to this, but we're still friends. We collaborate, we talk with each other. And to be invited back and to be invited to present at uni is a privilege and an honor. Mm-hmm. I just hope it's going to be successful. I'm a bit nervous about the presentation today.
Yes, and I wanted to ask also something about Kosovo. What do you think about Kosovo here and Pristina and the people here and the job? What can we do here?
Well, I mean, there's been lots of changes in 7 years, okay? I mean, when you drive around the city, what I remember from 7 years ago is very different than what there is today. So you have aspirations, you have ambitions, you have a young community that want to be part of the greater society across Europe, across the world. And the ambition and aspiration is infectious. In other words, it is something to enjoy. I wish we had the same sort of atmosphere, the same sort of energy and the same sort of passion in the United Kingdom and maybe also the United States, but that's a political subject that maybe we don't want to get into right now. But no, there is a real enthusiasm to build, to be entrepreneurs, to build businesses, to have an international community and international respect. And I think that uni sits at the center of that. I think the philosophy behind the university, the people who lead this university are creative people who are that dynamic, and I'm very privileged to be part of that group.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to ask about the bootcamp that is going to start here and about the presentation of yours. What is going to be, how do you expect this is going to work?
Well, we have to find out. Look, I think that the whole perspective I would take is one of experience. I've had the privilege to work with a number of quite major companies and work globally. I have a network which is quite significant. And to bring that experience and to bring those anecdotes and bring those references to this audience, I hope they would find interesting. I have some quite, how do I put it, radical ideas of what innovation looks like. I'm going to be addressing areas of plagiarism, innovation, and there are areas that need to be discussed. So I'm not a traditional academic in that sense, and I like to be slightly provocative in terms of asking the audience to contribute, wanting to know their aspirations, their ambitions, and to support them. I mean, to give you an insight to my craziness, okay, when I left Apple, I made a decision that if somebody reached out to me with, they want a conversation, I would find 45 minutes to meet with anyone who asked. But I give them a health warning, and the health warning is that if you ask me a question, I'm going to tell you what I think. And the obvious answer to that is, oh yes, we want to know what you... I said, no, listen to what I said. I'm going to tell you what I think, not what you want to hear. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the challenges, particularly for young, innovative founders, is to get authenticity, to get some feedback that is real, not just to be nice, to actually tell people what you think and help them on their journey. Being a founder of a technology company, being a chief executive of business, can be very lonely. Okay, you're sitting in your office, you're sitting with your group, you have a lot of people who will have a sycophantic attitude to tell you what you want to hear, mm-hmm. not necessarily what you want, what you need to hear. Yes. And I think I have a responsibility not so much to be liked, but to be respected and to help people with the experience that I've been privileged to have, to share those anecdotes, to share those stories, to help them know what's possible. And sometimes it's challenging, sometimes it's not a friendly conversation. Sometimes it's really quite difficult to manage, but I believe that honesty, that frankness is a critical part of how people can improve and can achieve their objectives and have aspirations to develop and to be entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Am I in trouble now?
No, you're not.
I just want to check.
No, you're pretty good. You're going pretty good. I wanted to ask also about you said that you are going to talk about today about the plagiarism and so on, but you also mentioned that about AI is something that is developing day by day.
It's a good question. So, I mean, I don't know how much time we have because this is a long conversation, but let me give you some.
Just take the time you need.
Well, let me give you some anecdotes. First of all, AI is a game changer for everybody, not just students, for everybody. But the question that needs to be asked and answered is the AI built for purpose? And what I mean by that is it built with a specific challenge, a specific requirement? In other words, in education, in health tech, it has to be credible, it has to be authentic. In other words, where the AI is trained needs to be trained on resources that can be trusted. So trust, authenticity are critical components. Can I give you an example?
Yes, of course.
If you look at Microsoft, for example, Microsoft invested, I think, $13 billion in total into OpenAI. But if you think about it logically, you have technology on one side and you have the internet on the other side, and there's a big gap in between. And what Microsoft had to do was to develop a program called Copilot, so a middleware, and the middleware is responsible for articulating the AI, for training the AI to the specific built-for-purpose challenges of the enterprise of the organization. So what you're going to see in the next 12 months, 24 months, 3 years, 5 years, is a whole development of companies and organizations that are using AI technology in an authentic, trusted way, that is trained on relevant content, that is not fake news, that is relevant to the audience, specific to that, and much more focused on what's capable. So that's one part of the jigsaw. There's another part of the jigsaw which is also interesting, is that you have to ask yourself the question, you have to think about critical thinking. And what I mean by critical thinking is the AI is only as good as the question that you ask. In other words, if you don't know how to frame a question, if you don't know how to go to the AI, to go to ChatGPT or other LLMs and frame the question that's relevant to your inquiry, then you will fail. You'll get an abstract. You won't get something which is relevant to your requirement. So the critical thinking and framing the question is one important piece of the jigsaw. then the second piece of the jigsaw is that what comes back to you is not necessarily accurate. You have to have domain expertise, knowledge, research into your subject. You need to be able to take the template that comes back to you from the AI and then make that or work that into whatever it is you want to communicate and you want to actually develop it into. So there's two pieces of the ecosystem that are not necessarily spoken about today, the critical thinking and the ability not necessarily to believe everything that comes back to you, but to work with it as a template in order to get your message or develop your program or your thesis environment. That's one of the messages I hope to share today with the students.
Yes. Mr. Greenberg, thank you a lot about this time that you share with us.
It's entirely my pleasure. Thank you.
E kemi ndjekur pra kështu një intervistë për Kanal 10 të